Look, the Stanley Cup playoffs are the best time of year for hockey fans, and I would suggest that no playoffs do it as well as the Stanley Cup playoffs. There is just something about the passion, the intensity, and everything that goes into it that makes it one of a kind. It is a different sport, it really feels like. And while every other sport does ramp things up when it gets to the playoffs, there is absolutely nothing like playoff hockey when it is at its best. I do have a problem, though, with how the NHL has set it up at this point. The Look, that 1 through 8, I think, was a perfect system, quite frankly. You reward your teams at the top by taking on teams at the bottom that of the playoff structure, right? Like that just, to me and my brain, that makes sense. And so then they change it, which is, I have, like, there are times where you need to be proactive instead of reactive, right? But the playoffs were this perfect thing that we all greatly loved and appreciated. And it created some amazing moments. And I couldn't imagine watching the Stanley Cup playoffs and thinking, you know what? This needs to be tweaked a little bit. And it was one of the mistakes that leagues make a lot. It was for the sake of rivalries. And now, if you're a longer standing hockey fan, you will know the NHL has been trying to shoehorn rivalry into things for a bit. Remember rivalry night on, what was it? I don't think it was just NBC, because that was hockey something in America or whatever, but it was, maybe it was the NBC games, but it was rivalry game. And so because of that, you just got basically original 6 American teams cycling through that spot all the time. That was essentially it. And then featuring Crosby and Ovechkin as well. And then you would get, oh man, it's rivalry night. Washington, Minnesota. Like, what? What are we doing? I don't know, but we're marketing as rivalry night so people get interested in it. They have, for a long time, really romanticized this thought of the rivalries because we've had some great ones in the past, right? Montreal, Toronto, a tale as old as time, right? And then Ottawa gets thrown into the mix. And then for a little bit, we get Toronto and Ottawa. And oh man, what a rivalry that was. And then we get Pittsburgh and Philadelphia in this kind of iteration, right? With Sidney Crosby battling up against this violent juggernaut that is giving them all these problems and really being just mean to this guy. But then, like in the past too, Edmonton against Calgary. Oh, what a rivalry that was. Even Edmonton against the Islanders when they're kind of switching eras back and forth a little bit, right? Like we had all of those rivalries. And admittedly, rivalries are built in the playoffs. And it was easier to have those rivalries and see everyone all the time when there was 6, 12, 21 teams. And you kind of had no choice. There were but so many teams to face at one particular time. And so the NHL, I think, saw that as like, well, what if we basically just limited the field down to 6 to 8, potentially? And so they make this new format where you now play teams in your division in the first part of it. And we have kind of, again, forced this rivalry thing. And when leagues start to step in to try to create something that should happen organically, it almost never goes well. And the example I would use is Major League Baseball. Think back to like for those who are around my age, but like that the Boston Red Sox and the Idiots, and they have a really good documentary series on the Red Sox comeback in '04 that leads to that World Series, and that stretch leading up to it is some of the best baseball you'll see, where it's Yankees Red Sox. Yeah, the games take 4.5 hours, but there is drama in every last second of it, and it is just this absolute battle all the time between these two teams, and it is just the two of the best, and they're going at it, and the hatred is building each time to the point where Pedro Martinez is throwing senior citizens to the ground, and this Karim Garcia, all these different things, and the Yankees are my daddy, all of it builds up into this phenomenal crescendo where first Boone hits the home run off of Wakefield to send the Yankees to the World Series, and then the next year it is Dave Roberts with the steals and Ortiz with 1,900 big hits, and it's classic moments that you'll remember forever. And so baseball saw that, and every time the Yankees and Red Sox played, it seemed like it was a weekend, and it followed local coverage on Friday, Fox Saturday Baseball Saturday, ESPN Sunday. People couldn't get enough of it. And so baseball took that and was like, well, if people can't get enough of it, let's give them more. And they changed the schedule so that we then got 18 Yankee Red Sox games a year. You know what became less important after that? Yankee Red Sox games. Because you would see them, it's like, okay, April, I'll catch it later. And so you had this thing that felt important and this thing that happened organically with these two top teams just battling it out and front offices and then on the field to face each other. And then you stuck them together 18 times and it didn't feel special anymore. And I'm worried that's what we're getting now with this playoff format where you are trying to force rivalries. And I think it is... Honestly, it's a little bit of old WWE booking where, okay, what's the best way to get a rivalry? Let's just have these guys face each other a bunch. What's the story? They're facing each other a bunch. It's like, that's not... Storylines can come out of that, sure. And we got that with Washington-Montreal. That is now probably going to be a rivalry for a bit, given some of the animosity that came out of that series. And there's a little bit of history going back to Montreal stealing the show against Washington when the Habs were an 8 seed. But again, that happened organically. Florida-Tampa Bay should be almost the pinnacle of rivalries in sports right now, in the NHL anyway, because of Tampa Bay's history for so long controlling that area, winning cup after cup after cup. And now Florida gets the good fortune that Matthew Tkachuk wanted out of Calgary and wants to go to Florida. So they make the move, they bring in Matthew Tkachuk, and now this team is on the rise. First as a cup contender, then as a Stanley Cup champion. And now they are in this heated battle with Tampa Bay, who is now trying to counter this upstart team that they have controlled for so long. And it has been this clashing of whatever. Except Florida's quite a bit better now at this point. And so instead of this great rivalry that, oh man, this feels special, I'm good. We've got it a couple of times. I'm good. I'm good on it. Same thing like Edmonton against LA. They have played, this is the 4th playoff series in a row that they are playing each other. When Edmonton plays LA next season in the regular season in November, is anybody going to give two shits? Don't think so. So that you have got it a lot, which makes it noteworthy, I suppose, but that doesn't make it a rivalry. And so I feel like the NHL, in trying to create this thing that when it happens organically, it's amazing. When they try to do it, it just feels overdone and lame. And it takes away from a bit of the fun that can be the playoffs, right? Where you would have, it does let you set up a bracket too, which I guess... That part, I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm taking a lot of side streets here. But when you have this whole thing set up, and it was so great because you would have like this run in 04 that the Flames went on. And I know I'm referencing that era of sports a lot today, but that run the Flames went on in 04 where they beat the Canucks in the first round. It now feels like it is a gauntlet because they are the lowest seed. So now they have to play the number 1 team in the land, the Detroit Red Wings, in the next round. And so again, instead of rewarding the top teams in the league for being the top teams, Winnipeg, as the President's Trophy winner, they get through the first round. Their matchup in the next round is either Dallas or Colorado. Either a Dallas team that is playing phenomenal hockey right now, or a Colorado team that's got their captain back for the first time in 3 years and has some of the best center depth in the history of the sport. So, hey, congratulations, but please, let's keep shitting on teams for doing well in the regular season and making fun of the President's Trophy winners as if that's a thing. No, there's been a lot of times that's been screwed up, and it was screwed up before in the old system, I will grant you. But the reward for doing great in the regular season shouldn't be that you now have to play, in theory, 2 teams that you are very familiar with because you're in the same division, so you have to play them a lot. I think that it really changes the reward structure in the NHL. I think that it really tries to force something that used to be just so much fun with all of that. Also, spare me the bracket thing. Like, oh, well, everyone just likes to, they want it to be like March Madness where you can just fill out a bracket and go. If March Madness was 3 rounds, no one would fill out a bracket. It's only fun because the thing is comically large and you just get to fill it, St. Bonaventure or whatever, and you get to put that in. So, okay. Also, I would just like to state, for the record, very few are doing it by hand anymore. And maybe there are still some, and it's still kind of fun. And honestly, I do it by hand first, and then fill in all the things after. But I do think that if you are of the psycho variety where you are doing a bracket by hand, I think you can figure out that, okay, I think this team's going to win here. These are the teams that I have winning, and now we're reseeding. So which number is the highest? Which number is the lowest? Those two teams face each other. Like, I think people could figure that out. So every reason that the NHL would have for making this, you can kind of poke holes in it a little bit, and I think we are starting to see the flaws of that starting to find their way through in these postseasons. Again, the action's been great, and it has been a lot of fun, but I just think that this is a flawed system, and the playoffs are fun in spite of it, not because of it. So that is the story from the National Hockey League. Again, all the NHL stuff is all in one spot on the Couch Potato Diary YouTube channel. Just look up the hockey playlist. If you're watching this after, it's going to be in there. So check it out. But yeah, if you just, I know we cover a lot of sports on this show. If you're just here for the hockey, thank you. There is just a hockey playlist. You can check out all the hockey breakdowns there. Or if you are here looking for wrestling or UFC or basketball or whatever, and it's, this guy's talking about 2004 baseball while we're talking about hockey playoffs. Screw this guy. All the different sports broken up into the playlists that you would want over on the YouTube channel.